Hey guys, Ljad here, and welcome to stage number 6 of the Ride the Storm special event in Real Racing 3. Now, we go back to Leipzig, and we have to take on the Lexus LFA to win this stage. Do note that I already have 14 upgrades in my Huracan, so if you have anything less than 14 upgrades, results may vary. Now, on to the goals. For goal number 1, you will be racing in the long circuit configuration of the Porsche test track. This is a 2-lap cup race and you just have to win the event. This goal is pretty straightforward, but I suggest that you get a feel of how the braking points and how early you should turn, since you'll be racing in the long circuit for at least 2 more goals in this stage. Before I continue on with the other goals, I'd like you to know that this might be hard to do with one service bar. So I highly suggest that if you have Eric free, or if you're willing to spend that one goal, I recommend that you do the next goal with the engineer perk, so as to finish this in one goal. Of course, it goes without saying that you have to race cleanly in order to do this in one go. Of course, with the engineer here. For goal number 2, we will be using the short configuration of the test track, and this will be an endurance race, and just have to reach a total distance of 5.2 miles, or in metric terms, it's 8.4 kilometers. Now, since I used the engineer, I had to win this race, and I think I did around 11 plus kilometers, but I don't think you need to win this event at all. For goal number 3, we'll be going back to the long circuit configuration of the test track, and aside from winning this goal, so you have to have the highest top speed among the participants of this event, you also have to have an average speed of 88 miles per hour, or 141 kilometers per hour. Now, given the 14 upgrades, I think I was able to do 270 kilometers per hour as a top speed in one of the back straights. Now, I highly recommend that you upgrade your car and bite the bullet a bit and spend some money on, actually some gold on upgrades right here. For goal number 4, we will have a trio of autocross events here, and each for the dynamic, one for the dynamic, one for the short, and one for the long circuit configurations. And you just have to win any one of these autocross events, and you have to cross the finish line. I guess you'll have to treat it as a speed snap of sorts, and you have to cross the finish line with a speed of no more than 20 miles per hour, or 33 kilometers per hour. So I'm assuming that it's kind of confusing. This is a sort of confusing goal, and I personally used the autocross in the dynamic circuit configuration. Now, why is this? First of all, the short and long circuits, I think you'll be reaching quite a higher top speed, and I guess it will be harder to manage your speed as you cross the finish line. So again, I did the dynamic circuit configuration. Now, you will be starting just before the carousel and will end just before the start finish straight. Now, you just have to be fast. I guess you have to race cleanly and have the right exit speed when it comes to the first portion of the track. Then just, I don't know, by luck, I'm guessing by luck that I was able to complete that goal with less than 33 kilometers per hour at the finish line. That said, you just have to be fast in the first portion, like I've stressed earlier. Then you can take a little bit of your sweet time, making sure that you cross the finish line with the 20 miles per hour speed limit. or 33 kilometers per hour if you're going electric. And lastly, we have a 3-lap cup race in the long circuit configuration of the Porsche test track. Now you will be taking on a bunch of Lexus LFAs here. As mentioned in the intro of this stage, they have good braking, but I'm not so sure about the top speed. Given the 14 upgrades that I have, I blew past them after, I think, before the first straight. So it's pretty easy to win this event, but you have to make sure that you win with an average speed of 90 miles per hour or 144 kilometers per hour. Now, given that you have to win the third goal with an average speed of 88 miles per hour, I think the average speed part here will be easy to attain. You just have to maintain it for a couple more laps, so that makes 3 laps, and I think you'll be doing just fine right here. All in all, it was a pretty much straightforward day. I did this in one playthrough. I didn't have to edit anything, and in the end, you'll be rewarded with 10,000 racing dollars and 5 gold for completing the stage. So that's about it. This is the penultimate stage. The last stage, stage 7, will be tomorrow in 24 hours time. So until then, good luck, and I'll see you next time.